There is a moment in every truly great life when the noise of the world fades and the silence becomes deafening. It is the moment you realize that the path you walk is not illuminated by external approval or fleeting inspiration, but by an internal furnace that demands fuel. This is the moment of the great architectural decision, the choice to stop merely existing within the structures others built for you and to begin the formidable, terrifying work of designing your own fortress. The comfortable path is a slow death, is paved with the soft sands of consensus, marked by the faint tracks of the mediocre, and leads nowhere truly meaningful. It offers safety, but at the cost of your soul's highest potential. The world trains you to crave certainty, to wait for the perfect signal, the guaranteed blueprint, the moment when all doubt is eradicated. But certainty is a myth, a tranquilizer for the weak-minded. The greatest endeavors are not built on solid ground. They are launched into the void. They begin in the fog. You stand now at the precipice of that fog. The horizon is obscured, the next step is invisible, and the chorus of internal and external critics screams that this is illogical, that this is the point of retreat. But the true warrior does not retreat from the unknown. He recognizes it as the only ground where real creation can occur. You must embrace the terrifying lack of guarantees. Your mission is not to find a map. Your mission is to become the compass. This is where the separation happens. Most people turn back, searching for a lighter, easier task, a shallower pool to wade in. They wait for the sun to rise, praying for clarity. But the light will only find those who are already moving. Mastery is earned not by waiting for inspiration, but by starting the difficult task in the profound and often lonely darkness. It is an act of defiance against the human instinct to pause. It is the fundamental, primal decision to move when the mind screams for stillness. Stop waiting for the permission slip. Stop analyzing the probability of failure. The probability of profound regret from inaction is 100%. The probability of failure, if you start and never stop, drops to zero the moment you achieve what you set out to do. The only real failure is the cessation of effort. Your strength is not defined by how high you jump, but by how deep your roots descend into the cold, nutrient-rich soil of commitment. These roots are planted in moments just like this, when you are tired, when the goal seems absurdly distant, when the cost feels too high. That deep, unshakable foundation is forged in the silence of your personal workshop, long before the world ever recognizes your name or the majesty of your completed structure. You are the architect of a destiny that is invisible to everyone else right now. You are building in the quiet, empty hours that the masses spend distracted. Understand that the decision to pursue true excellence is a declaration of war against the average. It is a commitment to isolation. You will find yourself deliberately moving away from the comfortable majority, whose comfort serves only as a psychological anchor dragging you down. Let them talk of balance and moderation. You seek elevation, and elevation demands a temporary, absolute imbalance. You are not striving for a better life. You are striving for a different kind of existence, an existence defined by depth, impact, and a relentless pursuit of your highest capacity. The initial break is the hardest. It is the snapping of the old chains of habit, the severing of emotional ties to comfort, and the rejection of the mental programming that told you to settle. This moment is not about grand action. It is about microscopic, daily defiance. It is about waking up before your competition, doing the difficult thing first, and honoring the unspoken contract you made with your future self. You cannot negotiate with your potential. You cannot barter effort for ease. The universe only responds to absolute conviction. The question is not, can I do this? The question is, am I willing to pay the full price for this? The payment is due now, and the currency is relentless, painful, unyielding action in the face of absolute uncertainty. The void is calling, is waiting for the sound of your first heavy, purposeful step. The thrill of the initial decision is temporary. It is the fuel of a spark, not the heat of the furnace. If you rely on excitement, you will fail. The journey from aspiration to achievement is not powered by motivation, a fickle, fleeting emotion, but by discipline, the unwavering, cold, and calculated commitment to action regardless of feeling. This is the era of the forge of isolation. Greatness is not a public spectacle. It is a private, relentless grind. The masses celebrate the finished product, the visible triumph, the sudden rise. They do not see the years spent in the dark, the solitary hours of repetition, the hundreds of abandoned drafts, the painful self-correction. They do not comprehend that the masterpiece they admire was first forged in a room where the only witnesses were silence and shadows. Your most valuable work happens when no one is watching, when there is no applause to sustain you, and no immediate reward to sweeten the effort. Discipline is the act of doing what is necessary, even when it is physically repulsive, mentally exhausting, and emotionally devoid of satisfaction. It is the framework that holds your ambition when your enthusiasm collapses. It is the ritual you perform when you are too tired to think. You must construct a routine so powerful, so non-negotiable, that your success becomes mathematically inevitable. Your daily non-negotiables are the chains that bind you to greatness. Do not seek freedom from the grind. Seek mastery within it. The process demands a brutal efficiency, a merciless auditing of your time, energy, and associations. You must become a ruthless editor of your life. Cut the distractions like they are parasitic vines strangling your potential. Eliminate the sources of psychological noise that offer temporary comfort in exchange for permanent mediocrity. Solitude is not a punishment, it is a prerequisite for depth. In isolation, the superficial priorities burn away, and you are left only with the essential, unshakable truth of your mission. The world often mistakes ease for intelligence, speed for effectiveness. But growth is often slow, painful, and requires a high tolerance for boredom. Do not chase the dopamine hit of novelty. Chase the profound, cumulative power of consistency. One perfectly executed action means little. The 1,000th perfectly executed action changes everything. It is the marginal gain, compounded daily, that creates the insurmountable gap between you and your competition. You must learn to fall in love with the dull repetition of fundamental tasks. The fundamentals, repeated with relentless intensity, are the secret weapon of every master. Your body and mind will resist this transformation. They are programmed for energy conservation, for comfort, for the path of least resistance. You must override this primitive programming. Every morning is a battle against the self that wants to stay small. Every time you choose the difficult path, the path of high resistance, you are rewiring your operating system. You are teaching yourself a new, formidable language, the language of unstoppable execution. This period is not meant to be pleasant. If it feels easy, you are not pushing hard enough. The pain of the forging process is the assurance that you are expanding beyond your current capacity. Embrace the heavy lifting. Embrace the mental strain. The difficulty you experience today is not a sign that you should quit. It is proof that you are entering the territory where true value is created. Remember, the quality of your future life will be directly determined by the quality of your daily rituals today. Do not romanticize the future hero you wish to become. Honor the unseen effort of the person you are right now. The greatest legacy is not what you accomplish at the end, but the integrity of the process you maintain every single day. The commitment to the silent, unseen standard is your highest form of reverence for your own potential. Let your discipline be so rigid that your dreams have no choice but to follow. There is a false narrative prevalent in the soft modern world that success is the removal of friction. This is a catastrophic lie. True power is not achieved by avoiding pain, it is achieved by mastering it. Pain is not a sign of failure, it is the currency of profound achievement. You must become an alchemist, capable of transforming the brute metal of agony and setback into the purified gold of wisdom and resilience. Pressure is not optional, it is the prerequisite for transformation. Observe the diamond is merely carbon that refused to shatter under impossible stress. Observe the steel, it is iron that survived the crucible of fire and the hammer of relentless impact. If you seek to be merely comfortable, you will remain soft, brittle, and easily broken. If you seek to be unbreakable, you must willingly submit to the highest levels of heat and compression. The moments when you feel most crushed, most depleted, most tempted to stop, these are the moments where your true self is being revealed. Pressure does not create character, it exposes the character already built in the solitude of part 2. If you break, it means your foundations were weak. If you bend but do not yield, it means you have built your mental architecture from titanium. Do not fear the scar. The scar is not a mark of shame. It is the indisputable proof that you were wounded, fought back, and survived. It is your permanent receipt for the lesson paid in full. Your scars are your greatest teachers. They document the exact points where your technique was flawed, where your focus wavered, or where your commitment was tested and proven. Study them. Honor them. They are the history of your ascent. Failure is merely information delivered at a high emotional cost. is a necessary data point, not a final destination. The mediocre see failure as a defining event that justifies retreat. The master sees failure as an iterative step, a critical correction, and a necessary payment toward mastery. You must develop an almost clinical detachment from the emotional sting of setback. Ask not, why did this happen to me? Ask, what invaluable, painful lesson does this event contain that I must now integrate? The journey will include moments of profound doubt. You will question the entire premise of your ambition. You will look at your progress and feel that you have wasted time, energy, and resources. This is the moment when most people quit. They mistake the low point of the cycle for the end of the road. This is precisely the time to double down. When you are standing in the rubble of a significant setback, the temptation to quit is strongest, but the opportunity for disproportionate growth is also at its peak. To endure pressure, you must develop an internal dialogue that is fiercely protective of your mission. Your mind must become a fortress against negativity, both external and internal. When the world tells you to stop, your inner voice must respond with an unbreakable, monotone refusal. I continue. This is not arrogance, this is self-possession. You are not arguing with the reality of the difficulty, you are declaring the absolute certainty of your commitment. Remember that the great symphony of success is composed not of flawless notes, but of notes played with courage, punctuated by pauses, and redeemed by the relentless pursuit of harmony. Your greatness is measured not by the ease of your victories, but by the ferocity of your comeback from defeats. Embrace the heat. Welcome the impact. The man who has mastered his pain is the man who has earned his power. You have survived the initial confusion, endured the lonely grind, and paid the heavy price of pain. What remains now is the consolidation of power, the forging of a mindset so robust, so utterly self-possessed, that you become impervious to external turbulence. This is the stage where motivation dies and is resurrected as absolute mastery of self. Your mind is the final frontier. You can build the most brilliant external structure, but if your internal architecture is weak, the first storm will shatter you. The highest discipline is not applied to the task, it is applied to the thought. You must become the gatekeeper of your consciousness, allowing no negative, corrosive, or distracting thought to penetrate the walls of your mental fortress. You must treat your attention as a sacred, finite resource, fiercely protecting it from the trivial. The difference between the champion and the perpetual contender is not physical strength or talent. It is the narrative they run internally. The contender negotiates with discomfort. The champion accepts it as standard operating procedure. The contender allows external events to dictate his emotional state. The champion maintains an unmoving emotional equilibrium, regardless of outcome. You must eradicate the phrase, "I feel like quitting," and replace it with the cold, powerful declaration, "I execute." You are not your emotions. Your feelings are momentary, weather systems passing through the landscape of your being. You are the immovable landscape itself. Learn to observe the fear, the doubt, and the fatigue without permission for them to dictate your action. The truly free individual is not one who is unburdened by problems, but one who has mastered the internal distance between the problem and his response. Mastery is the realization that control is an illusion, but influence is a reality. You cannot control the market, the competition, or unforeseen disasters. But you possess absolute, non-negotiable influence over three things: your effort, your focus, and your attitude. By dedicating all your mental energy to these three variables, you create a powerful inertia that renders external chaos irrelevant. When you place your focus on what you can control, the field of uncertainty shrinks to insignificance. Your power is found in the deep reservoir of stillness you cultivated during the years of silent work. When everything around you is panicked, when others are reacting emotionally, you must be the calm center. This is the ultimate expression of confidence, the absence of rush, the certainty of deliberate movement. When others speed up in fear, you slow down to ensure precision. Your decisions are not driven by adrenaline. They are rooted in the logical sequence of your pre-established discipline. The unshakable mind knows that success is not a random event, it is the inevitable conclusion of relentless preparation meeting opportunity. Therefore, your focus shifts entirely from hoping for success to earning it every single minute. The pressure that once tried to crush you is now the force that makes you denser, more concentrated, more powerful. Become the mountain. Let the winds of distraction howl and the storms of setback rage. They may beat against your sides, but they cannot move your foundation. Your architecture is complete. Your internal walls are reinforced with thousands of successful repetitions, and your mind is an impenetrable fortress. You are now the master of your internal universe, and therefore the master of your external trajectory. You have transitioned from a seeker to a force of nature. The journey is not complete until you realize that the most profound difference between the great and the merely good is not how they start, or what they accomplish, but the absolute, non-negotiable refusal to ever conclude their effort. The commitment is the legacy. The work itself becomes the reward. The final stage of greatness is the rejection of the finish line. The true master understands that his ultimate value lies in the perpetual, iterative ascent. The moment a monumental goal is achieved, you take a necessary, brief breath and immediately focus on the next, higher peak. If you define yourself by a single achievement, you make yourself vulnerable to the decay of stagnation. You are not a statue of past glory. You are a continuous, dynamic, unstoppable vector moving forward. Your relentless persistence is the highest form of respect you can pay to your own potential. You must cultivate a permanent dissatisfaction, not with your life, but with your current level of output. Not the poisonous, self-destructive dissatisfaction of the insecure, but the generative, burning conviction of the visionary who sees infinite room for improvement. The greatest athletes, thinkers, and builders do not stop when they are tired. They stop when the mission parameters are met, and then they immediately re-establish higher parameters. This final refusal to stop is what defines your legacy. Legacy is not about the awards you accumulate or the wealth you amass. Legacy is the indisputable evidence you leave behind that one person, armed with nothing but commitment and discipline, can redefine the boundaries of what is possible. Your life must become a living testament, a silent but deafening sermon, demonstrating to all who witness it the staggering power of enduring effort. Your scars, your quiet routine, your unwavering gaze, these become the unspoken curriculum for those who follow. They will look at your success and realize it was not magic, not luck, but the simple brute force application of consistency over time. You have solved the equation of greatness. Consistent, high-intensity effort applied in the face of uncertainty, reinforced by the acceptance of pain. Do not soften your standards now. Do not allow comfort to creep back in and dilute the hard-won density of your character. The moment you decide you have done enough is the moment your decline begins. Hold the line. Protect the integrity of your process until your very last breath. Let your final act be an extension of your life's work, a statement of continuous, unwavering motion. The one who never stops is the one who ultimately wins. Not because they are the most talented, but because talent is meaningless without the relentless will to execute, to fail, to adapt, and to return to the task again and again and again. The game ends for the average man when the challenge becomes too steep. The game ends for the master only when there is no time left on the cosmic clock. Until then, you are moving. You are the architect. You are the forge. You are the pressure. You are the monument.